You're listening to the Studio PTPO podcast, where we talk all things marketing to help you build and grow your business online. Welcome to the latest episode. Welcome to another episode of the Studio PTPO podcast. We are back, and we're back at it again with another guest. We had a guest yesterday. We chatted real estate talks. We chatted all things real estate. And it was a great conversation that we were able to have. And if this is your first time tuning into the Studio PTPO podcast, really my goal and my mission is to help entrepreneurs and real estate agents with marketing and mindset knowledge, help you build, grow, and scale your business online. And I think that really I've been on this mission to interview some of the top 7 and 8 figure entrepreneurs from around the world, really helping pull nuggets out of them to really help you grow your business in the online space and just grow your business in general. And today I have a really, really special guest. A couple years back, what was really cool is we actually met in person at a Talkie More conference, actually in Marina Del Rey. We were just chatting about this prior to hopping on the actual call today, hopping on the live. I have Mike Agugliaro with me today. And I am so excited about this because to see everything you've accomplished in your business over the last couple of years has been absolutely amazing. See you start another one. But I don't want to steal any more of your thunder. Why don't you give us kind of like a high level overview and kind of like who you are, what you do, why you do it, and kind of like how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, awesome. Super excited to be here with everybody. Make sure you have a pen and notepad because I want to make sure I'm giving you stuff, not just motivational information. I want it to be transformational and something that you could actually take action on. You know, if you go back in time, I'm an electrician by trade. The way that they decide you're kind of electrician is there's 2 journeys. It's like you're fit for college or no way in hell. You're fit to be a blue collar worker of some kind. And I graduated as an electrician. And then like a lot of people, maybe a bunch of listeners here, you're pretty sure you can do what you want to do better than your idiot boss is doing it, right? Seems pretty simple. Like he's making money. And that put me into an electrical contracting business, which I then struggled to figure out how to really get that thing to where I wanted it to be a freedom vehicle, a vehicle that was actually making money, but not being a slave. I did that for about 12 years, me and my business partner trying to figure it out. And then it clicked for me. It's like, holy crap. Like, one, you're trying to do a model you don't even understand. And you don't understand marketing. You don't understand sales. You don't understand leadership, operational systems. And without those things, you definitely will struggle. So long story short, we figured it out. And in a 10-year period, we took this business from under $1 million to over 32 million in the state of New Jersey. It's called Gold Medal Service. So we had 200 employees, 165 service trucks going around and fixing every single thing that would break in somebody's house, double-digit profit. And that might be cool for some of you. And I'm not here to brag about myself. I'm not even impressed with myself. But the thing is, I think that is pretty neat is that we sold the business and we took a pen, signed our name, and walked away the next day. That's pretty rare in the world to sell a business, sign your name, and walk away. But as much as I grew that business, you know, there's moments in life where you're happy, but you're also confused. I was happy because we were winning, and I was confused why all my friends and other service companies were suffering and struggling. And I want you to write down a word, everybody. Write down the word movement, because that's the first quest that I went on. Was I said, you know what? Okay, great. So I created a successful service company. Pat yourself on the back. You're all excited. You're doing more than most people ever do in their lifetime. And then you get to the moment you're like, well, wait, everybody else is struggling. So that put me on a mission to grow something that I called CEO Warrior. And my whole movement was I wanted to change the service industry. Because I think if you asked your mom, your dad, friends, hey, if you put a mental image of a plumber coming to your house, what does it look like? Come on. Everybody's got the same image, right? Scruffy, flannel shirt, ass hanging out, right? And I wanted to change the way that the service industry performed, how they did their work, how they looked, how they act, how they smelled, every part of it. And I did that in a 7-year period. And I was still building that when we met at Talkie. right? I was still navigating things, but I navigated pretty quick. And in 7 years, we created what I call the top training and implementation organization in the world for plumbers, HVAC, electricians, anybody that fixes a residential home. We're the best in the world. And then in 2020, I knew that to take that company to 100 million, to take it to impact the whole globe, you have to know when you need smarter people than yourself. And I did another deal at the end of 2020, and I brought in amazing partners called Corridor, and they came in, and I was a gift. I ascended to a board level role, so which is great position to be in because you get to make key decisions, right? But you're not in the day to day. And last thing I'll share with everybody here, back to the movement again. I then said, okay, I've created an amazing service company. I shifted an industry. That was great. That's fun. Now I said, how do I shift the world? Could one company impact the world? And we built this thing. It's a little over a year now. It's called Food Dog Group. And if you're wondering what the hell a food dog is,
I'm wondering.
It's these lion dogs. You ever see these like imperial lion dogs? There's a male and a female, real powerful. And we came up with one thinking that would change the game for everybody. You see, if you look at a life wheel, right? There's like, let's say there's 10 brackets of a life wheel. Mm-hmm. Most of you probably listening, you're focusing all your energy in that one bracket, career, your business, and everybody's just grinding it out to win there. But they forget something. The other 9/10 of the wheel, that's really what makes all the magic happen for the business. So I'm going to give you one last thing to write down, and then we'll open this up and let's dig in. In order to 10x anything, you hear everybody 10x, 10x, 10x. It's a big theme. They want to tattoo it on their arm. What all those people that are saying 10x don't tell you is the way to 10x anything is you have to 20x yourself.
That's good.
That's the missing people. People don't talk about it. Like, oh, you're going to 10x your business. You can't 10x shit without 20x in yourself. What I learned, if you look at all areas of your life, your relationships, your friends, your contribution, your spiritual belief, whatever you believe in, you 20x those things. And I've proven it year after year after year. Growth becomes that quick and that easy. So I hope that gives everybody a little bit of in my world of what I do. Plus, I always say that's fun stuff. The real success is I'm with my beautiful wife, Jennifer, since we're 15 years old.
Man, congratulations. That's huge.
22-year-old son, 19-year-old daughter. And I've been doing martial arts for over 3 decades since I'm 15. So that's really the important stuff. Everything else is a byproduct of that.
I really want to start with personal development because, like, we went there and I was running through my head, and I even look at my own life over the last couple of years about reinvesting back into coaches. And, I invested and I hired a coach through Brendan Burchard. I said that I say this all the time. I went to a Brendan Burchard conference. It was HPX Live in 2020, pre-pandemic. And, he said these famous words like, a lot of entrepreneurs struggle because they don't automate enough, they don't delegate enough, and they don't remove enough non-moving activities inside their business. But then it was like this personal and business journey that kind of led me on a journey in order to, start to grow this agency at a higher rate, because I began looking at both my personal and my professional life and trying to not just accelerate my professional life, but accelerate, my personal life as well, and really dig into that and what it means to live congruently. I'm really curious to know, when you work with entrepreneurs and when you you worked with service-based businesses, how do they do that? What advice would you have to them that can essentially take them out of solely thinking about their business and thinking about their personal life, that can actually catapult them into the 20x success that you essentially said? How do they do that? What steps do they take?
Look, I mean, the first part is you just have to have the reality that if you look at things, like when you have a problem in your relationship with your partner, whoever your partner is, do you think anything about your business? Nope. You're in an argument with your wife, your husband, somebody, you're not thinking about your business. You're thinking about your relationship. If you have a health problem, you thinking about your business? Nope. No. You're thinking right about your issue with your health. So in sense, we know that the things that create, and nobody if they could just understand that the real problem is resistance, okay? Resistance. In order to grow anything, something's got to die. If you want to grow something new, you got to kill an old thought. That might sound common sense, but if you look at resistance and you look at health resistance, relationship resistance, some people, they're growing a big business, but they've been not doing their hobby or something they love, and then they get depressed or they start to have anxiety because they're like, oh my God, I'm doing this, but I'm missing out on that. Everybody wants to make it sound like it's so easy, like, oh, what I just said, you'll figure it out like that. No, you have to go back and understand the story, the timelines, the models, the framing, everything in your life that you've experienced to be taught. I love this when they tell me this. I've spoken to big crowds and I say, hey, if you were able to go back in time, what would you change? And the program response, tell me, the program response is, I would not change anything. Bullshit. I'd change a whole bunch of stuff. Bunch of stuff I would change. Would I've gotten, I had the most coaches I had at one time was 7. Okay, 7 coaches. And people go, well, that's crazy. Why couldn't you have one? Well, because it's tough to find one that has 3 decades of experience and everything you need. So I had a relationship coach, a spiritual coach, a marketing coach. I mean, you name it. I mean, Jay Abraham was my one-on-one coach for 3.5 years because most people listening probably know him, one of the highest paid consultants on earth. I was to spend a half day with him. And I already thought I was a hotshot, man. I thought like I was already running a $25 million company. I'm thinking you're pretty good. I was supposed to spend a half day with him. 2 hours in, the guy burnt me out. I was like, he smoked me. Like I couldn't even comprehend anymore. And he was so gentle. He's like, a couple hours in, most people can't take on more. And I was like, and then you know what I said, which I hope everybody does. I said, okay, my thing is I'm going to master his ass. Write down the word mastery, everybody, because next to movement, mastery, people are confused. They think mastery is the person that's on top of the mountain, right? With the big white kung fu beard, right? They think of that as a master. Mastery is just being better tomorrow than you are today with intention of being better. So if you look at that timeline of those things have really made a difference for me, how to think different, be different, and understand that everything that you're struggling with, it really is a model that you put together over time.
Totally.
Identity. You've heard this a million times. Everybody goes, identity, identity. I know what it's like to be an identity out of identity. When I started coaching in the blue collar space, I went out there. Imagine me. I got brought Bruce Lee for everybody today. Okay. Bruce Lee's here with us today. And the Lion. Bruce Lee and the Lion. And I was going out there in a button-down shirt, right? Slacks. And I was going out to this contractors because that's what everybody else was. And then after a little less than a year, I went to my wife and I said, this is killing me. This isn't who I am. And she makes things real simple. She said, just stop. And I took it off and I threw it all away. And then I found my truest self, my real self, which is a big lesson. Everybody should write this down. Like, you cannot grow, and I don't know what size the listeners are, you cannot grow a $5 million company with a $1 million identity. You won't. You're always trying to play catch up. If you want to build a $20 million or $30 or $50 million company, you need to adopt a $100 million identity. Now, I'm not talking about this fake stuff, the fake cars, the fake play. I'm not talking about all that. I'm talking about the real deal. Like, who do you have to be? How do you have to act? How do you have to talk? And you have to be willing to step in that and love that identity. Love that identity. Because if you don't love it, you're just a fake. And I share this all the time. And I used to do these speaking all over. You're behind, the green room. They make you feel all fancy. Oh, you go to the green room. You got some Fuji water and some M&Ms and shit. Nothing fancy's happening, everybody in the green room. But you're around some cool people. And you're around them and you listen to them and you go, what the hell? Hang on a minute. What they're going to say out there is not what they're saying in the green room. It's an illusion. Their life's miserable. Their wife's divorcing them. Their health's gone down the hill. They can't stand it. They have no free time. I'm like, whoa. this is crazy. When you're in your true real identity, how you are in the green room or behind the curtain is the same person you are when you step on the stage or you're on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at my energy today, it's the same energy when I get off here. It's the same energy I'm going to have tomorrow. I don't come on and I don't jump on a trampoline to go, okay, now I'm ready to come here and hang out with you. No. It's always there.
That's so interesting. You talk about energy and like carrying energy consistently. And, I just kind of got my brain thinking about how entrepreneurs can really carry energy and carry identity into their daily lives. Like, what can they do? Like speak to, because you've been there, like that struggling business that is, maybe they're not struggling, maybe they're doing well. Like, maybe they're considering, like they're doing, $500,000-$600,000 a year. And you said you broke past the $1 million mark to eventually get to 30 million. What are like the top 3 things that you said really shifted the needle and really turned the needle for you to get you to your first 3, to get you to your first 5, to get you to your first 10 million, to become like in that 7 to 8 figure range? Because the vast majority will just never do it. So what would you say to somebody who's saying, yes, I have big dreams, I have big aspirations, I have the 10X mentality, but they're just having a hard time breaking through?
Yeah.
What advice do you have for them?
Get rid of, I hope it's okay I curse here, otherwise bleep it out or something.
Well, we're live, so you're all good.
Okay, cool. Here's the deal. Get rid of all the shit that you're hearing. You hear these people. I used to go to a lot of events and what do you do? And everybody's got this program thing. Well, I only work 2 hours a week. And I say, I am so sorry about that. I'm very sorry about that. And they look at me like I took away their ultimate significance. And they say, why are you sorry? I said, the fact that you hate what you do so much that you would only do it 2 hours a week, we should really talk about solving this. I said, because this is ridiculous, right? So the first thing is get rid of what you did. The other thing is you go out there and I said, who's read Think and Grow Rich? Everybody raises their hand. The pride of the book. Me, I'm part of the tribe. I go, okay, now let's be real. How many of you are rich? Less than 20% of the hands go up. I said, I don't know if it's the wrong damn book, the wrong damn reader. I don't know. But the fact you read the book didn't seem to make you rich. See, if you want to start breaking these paradigms, you got to, get rid of this stuff. People ask me, this is so funny. People ask me this. They go, okay, you built 2 empire-sized companies. You sold empire-sized companies. You're building, and my goal is, I know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to impact 1 million people or more in a decade or less in 100 countries or more. We know that. We're very, very clear of that. And people want to say, Mike, what's your morning routine? And this is going to make a point to the questionnaires. So their interpretation or what they think the world is, I must get up at 4:30 in the morning. I must do push-ups. I must meditate. I must do all this because that's the morning that everybody successful has. I'm like, no. I wake up when I wake up. It's about 7:30. I roll over. I start looking through Facebook and I scroll. And then I get up and they're like, so here's the thing. There's no one plan for everybody. There's your plan. The second thing is, and you've heard this before, but it's got to be true. I wanted nothing more than to create a model for my children. I wanted to be a model for them. And how can you be a great model if you're not willing to break the boundaries of things? Now, my son is 22. He's already been an author of a really great martial arts book. And he did that when he was 19. My daughter's 19 now. She runs her own virtual yoga business. My son runs his own virtual martial arts and fitness business. And all I wanted to be was a model for how they can think and do different. Now, if you could be a model and you want to give them the best chance, then you're willing to do the tough things. Like, I don't drink any caffeine for over 12 years now. Was that easy? Well, I was never a coffee drinker.
Okay.
But I was a Dunkin' Donuts unsweetened iced tea with 4 sugar drinker.
I'm like, no black coffee. I'm like, me and Taki are going to have a conversation with you.
No coffee or none. but I was jacked up on this caffeine. My wife says it's the sugar I was jacked up on.
Okay.
But I haven't done it in 12 years now, gluten. I haven't done gluten in over 12 years now. Now, I'm an Italian. There's nothing I would love more than to be down in garlic bread. But look, if you want to create a greater world for yourself, you must remove things that are resistance. And I know that some of these are not easy, but on the other side of that resistance, holy crap, your mind opens up, your energy, you function faster and quicker. You're not fatigued at 9 o'clock at night and sitting there all like blacking out on the couch and stuff. And success is not a difficult thing. And I want you to write it down. It's not difficult, but it is different. It is different. You have to think different. And when they tell you, like, one person says you got to grind it out, you got to hustle. The other person says you got to work smarter, not harder. Let me give you one distinction. I'll open it back up for you. Here's a distinction I made. The first thing they tell you is stop working in the business and work on it. Okay, that makes sense. The second thing they tell you is they say, you know what? You should be a business owner. A business owner. So you go, okay, I got to be a business owner. They never tell you what's next. They never tell you what you really should. I'm going to cut the curve and save you a decade. I turned around and I told someone one time, a mentor of mine, they said, when we were first getting started, they said, what do you do? I said, I run a small electrical contracting business. He went, no. You run a progressively growing contracting business. And I went, oh. He said, your language is keeping you small. You keep saying you're small. Yeah. And I went, holy shit, this way. So then another mentor said to me, I said, what do you do? I said, I'm a business owner. I operate businesses. He goes, oh, that's great. He goes, no, you're not. You're a wealth investor who has businesses as part of your portfolio.
Yeah.
Flipped my identity like that. He said, everything you do, next time someone asks you, you say, I'm a wealth investor. I have a business, and that's one part of my wealth. I have homes. That's one part of my wealth. And people don't look at it that way. The minute you take on that identity, everything flips for you forever. The way you communicate with people, the way you think, your habits, your patterns, your behaviors, everything.
I can echo that like very, very clearly. And I find myself even to this day, still struggling with the language thing, like the way that you speak. Like I know for sure I've done that. And I've had people in our community and boardroom say like, it's like, well, no, you actually are this. Like, so I've had those experiences and I've seen the power of like, like call them affirmations, call them whatever you want, but it's just like shifting the way that you think. It's like changing the way you think about yourself and about what you do is so, so, so powerful. So I'm so glad you brought that up and used the word language, because I think that so oftentimes like it's so easy to, downplay what we're doing and speak to that. But it's like, you need to up level your thinking. So I love that. Like when you use the word language, I'm like, it just like, it clicked with me. So I'm really curious to know when it came to what you did in prepping to exit your business, like in prepping to essentially like, you exited to business. Like what should the entrepreneur that is planning to exit or planning to eventually, or maybe they're not, maybe they just want to maximize the value of their business. What are some things that they should be considering that they might not be thinking about?
Yeah, that's great. And before I give that, let me go back to the language and tie a ribbon around that. Spelling is putting a spell on things. If you look at it that way, every word that you say is creating a spell. It's creating this outcome. And the biggest one I'll share here, because I notice a lot of people, they say, and I don't know about you, did you ever lose weight, right? People go and they lose weight. Did you ever gain that shit back with a vengeance? Yeah, it comes back double. One word, lose, tells your brain, go find it and find more, because it doesn't want to let you down. When you release weight, you're letting it go forever. So I just wanted to throw that in there real quick. Let's talk about this ability to exit. Everybody's going to exit their company. And then I'm going to solve something for everybody that most people have no idea. One, you're going to exit. If you die, you'll exit the business. If you sell it, you'll exit the business. If you go out of business, you'll exit the business. And if you partner and give it to someone, you'll exit the business. Everybody eventually exits a business. Here's the part that nobody talks about. It's the growth ascension of you. See, you will ascend outside of your business and exit it through your ascension faster than you'll sell it for a transaction. It normally happens. I was just talking to someone yesterday because now I'm in the position. One, I have that company where we help people optimize their life. I always tell people, people that go to personal growth, personal development, well, when they've done everything and they hit a platform and they can't go no more, that's when they come to someone like me. And we're also in a point where we do partnerships with companies now. We take equity in companies. Here's what I found out. 8 to 10 years, you'll mentally start to ascend outside that business if that business does not ascend ahead of you. Because what happens, and it's happened to me multiple times, like when I look at changing the service industry, I was like, okay, but after 7 years, I'm like, all right, I'm changing a bracket of people, but my ascension of who I was and how I thought was built to change the world. So if I stay in that company, then I'll live there. I'll think it's a job. I'll dislike it. So one, you have to understand that exit. The second thing is for preparation is you really have to know the structure of a company. Like you have to understand culture, and people talk about culture and they only know one circle of culture. They think they're employees. That is the smallest culture there is. Watch all the different cultures. There's your employee culture. There's your family culture, which interacts with your company culture one way or another, even if it's you bitching when you get home. There's your vendor partner culture, people that you buy stuff with. Your customers are a culture. Your community you're in has a created culture that your business goes in. Your online community, who you surround yourself with on Facebook, LinkedIn, is a culture. If you ever want to blow your mind, sit down and identify all the different cultures and see if they're congruent together. You'll find gaps all over. You get those congruent, that's how you build movements where all cultures work in harmony together and there's an understanding of what's happening. So one, you have to get a grip on all cultures. Number two, I know it sounds transparent. You got to have a team, but people don't understand team. I always built director level because I always wanted to only do what I was the best in the world with. And look, in the beginning, it's not that easy because if you're 1, 2, 3 people, you're building an agency or real estate company or gym, whatever, you have to know multiple functions. But the difference between doing multiple functions and knowing how to segment them out when the time is ready is 2 different skill sets. One person could grind the heck out of it and then they go, fatigue, anxiety, pressure comes in. They go, I gotta get rid of this marketing side, the social media side. And now they try to figure out how to segment it out versus stepping back. I'm sure listeners probably know what an organizational chart is, right?
Yeah, I would assume so.
The pieces of an org. Here's what they don't know. When I ask a company, when I was working with companies, I don't work and teach business stuff anymore. We do that at CEO Warrior. I either teach life stuff and shift humans into superhumans, or I'm a partner in a company. The thing that they don't ever talk about with an org chart is you look at the org chart and the org chart is only functioning for today.
Interesting. Yeah.
Now, let me tell you a story. This is how it clicked for me. I was doing work when I was still in the field and getting ready, starting to grow the company. And I was doing work in one of these churches. It was like, I don't know if it's Baptist. They play the drums and shit. It's really cool. Okay. They film it. It's like a rock and roll concert.
Cool.
And I walked in one day and there was a huge picture of a building here, big building. And the pastor was there, this guy, Pastor Seawright. And I said to him, I said, what is this? Because I always write this down, everybody. Be curious first, judgmental second. If you're curious, you will unlock the doors of so many amazing things. So I said, what is this? He goes, well, that's what we're going to have someday. And I said, why is it here? He goes, oh, we'll never create unless they believe. I went, okay, this is making sense. On my way back, driving back to our office, I started to think, what does this mean in different areas? And I said, oh, if you have an organizational chart for just where you're at in your company today at 1 million, how will it ever go to 10? So you need a 1 million organizational chart and a 5 million organizational chart.
Totally.
Then it clicked. So I build this organizational chart that's 5 times greater than where we're at. And I put it on the wall. And the employees come up and say, what's this? I said, that's every future place that you can go. Click. I said, do you want to be a director? You want to be a manager? And all of a sudden, rocket fuel. I mean, my biggest year, we added 6.5 million in 1 year, which in the service company was huge.
Yeah.
We did a $3.5 million month. That was our biggest month. I've taught companies how to do in the service industry. We had now, I think in the last 18 months, we helped over 19 service companies sell, everywhere from 10 million to 30 million. And I've created more multimillionaires in the service industry than you could shake a stick at. And it's because, well, how can they grow? They say, oh, well, they'll just grow to, you're doing 1 million and anybody listening wants to go to 2. Well, 2 million's enough, the number. No, it's not. Every human wants one thing, my friend. They want evolution and growth. Yeah. And they could only grow not to a number, to a position they see themselves playing in a company. Now, for some of you, I don't know if this makes sense, or some of you, I hope this is a new transformational switch for you, because taking this, and you probably got to listen to this whole episode again, taking this and writing this down action item and bringing it forward will change the game in what you want to build.
Yeah. It's something that, I'm thinking back to, a friend of mine, Cameron Harold, who wrote a book, Vivid Vision. And that was really the catalyst for a lot of our growth, people literally seeing the ability of what they can essentially create for themselves. It's just so powerful. And I love what you said about being curious, because I try to come into a lot of these podcasts curious about it's I can read what is on a piece of paper, but to actually hear you say it and actually hear you go deeper into it fascinates me. And it fascinates, especially you said, when we met in 2017 or 2018, you were still building CEO Warrior, and to see kind of even what you've done has been absolutely phenomenally incredible. A lot of it, because I've watched over the last couple of years, a lot of it, I've seen you in videos with Frank Kern. I've seen you in videos with Jay Abraham, genius marketers and business growth people. Yeah. From a marketing perspective, and I want to kind of close with this, because obviously there was a marketing and there was a sales aspect to the business growth that you experienced with CEO Warrior. What do you think that business owners are other than the transformational inside personal, professional growth? That's one element, but I think there's an element of marketing and sales that potentially people are missing in their businesses. What can you speak to that a little bit? What are these businesses doing from a marketing and sales perspective in order to take themselves to 2, 5, 10, $20 million in sales? What were you doing from a marketing and sales perspective?
Yeah. And let me give you 2 things. First, I want to give a plug for Cameron Harold. I worked a one-on-one with him when I still owned the service company. And he was a significant investment back then. I mean, it was a stretch for me, but he saved me $700,000 on dealing with the yellow pages and stuff. And he pushed me to make a decision and push. So one, if he listens to this, kudos. The second thing, I want to give a gift before we talk about sales and marketing. He gave me a gift. I want to give it to everybody here. I'm one of these people that okay, what should I be reading next? Right. And he solved a problem for me that no one else ever solved. And I want to give him props here. I said to him, okay, so what should I be reading next to grow? He goes, well, what do you think is your biggest problem? And back then it was culture. He goes, okay, read 5 things, 5 books on culture. And as soon as you solve the culture, stop reading. And I was like, this is brilliant. Then I developed my own strategy was read a book only till you have impact. When you get an impactful moment, go implement it. You're not in high school no more where you're forced to read a crappy book until it's done. If a
Yeah.
book's no good, I don't read it. Now let's go to sales and marketing. Okay, marketing. After the business owner transition, remember I went to wealth investor. In between that, I became a marketer. I found out, and I think Dean Jackson says marketing is everything and everything's marketing. Brian Kurtz, another friend of mine, he says marketing's the only thing. Marketing is an understanding, okay? And marketing is nothing more than helping people emotionally move from where they're at to where you want them to go to serve them at the highest good. Now, most people don't ever do enough marketing research to look at it. They talk about these funnels and all these things. Here's how I look at marketing. Anything that I'm going to build a movement in, I want you to imagine a football field. Okay. If you had a football field and it was filled with all little yellow balls, right? Like the kiddie balls they jump in. When you looked out there, all you would see is yellow. But you see, if I took one black ball, threw it in the middle, you looked out there, you wouldn't see yellow. You'd see the one black ball. So when you're building marketing and you're looking at it as a movement side of things, it comes always with the evaluation. And I say, the way I do it is I print out everybody that's either in my space, wants to be in my space, tried to be in my space, and I put it all over the wall. And I leave one spot in the middle and I just look at it. Anything they do, I ask myself, how can I do it 1,000 times better and 1,000 times different? See, everyone else in the world's trying to build a widget that's slightly better, but pretty much the same as everyone else. When I went into the service industry to impact it, once I figured out my identity, I said, we're going to change the game. Here's what we're going to do. When we get people in a room, we'll teach them marketing, sales, and operations. I don't remember the different movies throughout the year. I'm going to break the horse. I'm going to break that horse, whatever way we got to do. And sometimes we have people with MMA gloves carrying heavy bags, throwing it. Sometimes they're breaking tables, whatever it takes. We're going to break that horse because when we shift that human, now I could teach them marketing, sales, and operations. Now, the sales side of things. Sales, in my service company, I got rid of one word, sales.
Interesting.
I only would allow them to say serving the client. That's it. Sounds like an easy distinction, but it's not, because the world is so into what I call one-time transactional value. They want to go in there. Everybody today wants to sledgehammer a customer and they want to get as much as they can. I'm in the lifetime transactional value because I'm in the lifetime transformational business, which means if anybody wants to see free trainings, videos, podcasts, I do them because I serve first. And then if it makes sense and I'm a fit and I can help them change their life, boom, I'm in. But if I'm not, now that's very different than the rest of the world. The rest of the world, you feel like you're being sold every minute on every damn thing on every social channel. And I think people don't like that.
Yeah.
You were not born to sell. You were born to serve. How do I know? Because when you were little, your mom or dad, whoever brought you, said, okay, bring me the ball. You didn't go, for a lollipop, I'll bring you the ball. For a cookie, I'll bring you you didn't start selling them. You said, I'll bring you the ball. And then your mom or dad hugged you and said, great job, great job. You were born to serve. People get lost through the journey because they want an outcome so bad, they're willing to do anything for it. When if you just go back to the true nature of who you are with a pure heart and the ability to serve, then guess what? Anything. It is so true. I proved it over and over in my life. Everything comes to you after you live that type of life and get out of that routine that you're seeing everybody else. First off, the term closing and pitching and all this stuff, just get out there and serve them. And if you're a congruent fit, they're going to buy. It's that simple.
I love that. And that's something we've been really trying to shift even in our model over the last little while. And we're a testament to that as well. I've been saying to our team, it's like, show up and coach people, because when you show up with a coach's mindset or a coach's heart, it's going to be like, hey, like we can help you get to where you want to go, but you can't help everyone get to where they want to go. But it's actually pointing them in the right direction, because we get tons of insurance agents come through our funnels, and it's like we're just not the right fit to serve them. But we still point them in the right direction to somebody else who can help them. So Mike, like from the bottom of my heart, like thank you so much for sharing with us today. Like there's so much value about being curious, making sure that we we watch the language we use with ourselves. Read to solve was a massive thing. Like that idea of like, you don't have to read every single book. You need to generally read to solve an issue, I think is a really huge element. And lastly, the thing that really stuck with me was around marketing, was building a movement and really serving people at a higher level. Just from the bottom of my heart, thank you for joining us today on the Studio PTBO podcast. If somebody were to want to reach out to you and want to chat with you about transforming their lives, like where is the best place that we can send them?
Yeah, if you go to fooddogroup.com, FUDOG group, GROUP.com, that'll be the best place. And can I sneak in one last quick thing here for you? Is 100%. It okay?
Yeah.
For everybody listening. One last thing I want you to challenge. They say you're like the 5 people you surround yourself with. That's a lie. If me or you are around 5 broke ass people, we don't become broke. They become wealthy and smarter. So the second thing to that is, it's not who you hang around with, it's how you hang around with them. And the reason I say that is I'm so honored to be on this show. And I'm so glad if you're listening to this, either live or the replay, you're hanging around. It's how you hang around. Take this information, execute on it, share your success with all of us. Completely honored to be here today.
Mike, thank you so much. And thank you so much for tuning into the Studio PTBO podcast. Bottom of my heart, want to say thank you for your attention today. Hope you got a ton of value today. I hope that you took some notes. And if you are live with us, throw live in the chat below. If you watch the replay, throw a replay. If you're on iTunes or Spotify and you want to reach out to Mike, where to reach him now. Bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you again for tuning into the Studio PTBO podcast. We'll see you soon.